Mandatory minicamp, OTAs, and rookie minicamp are officially in the books for the Minnesota Vikings. And with that being said, we have so much more news, notes, highlights, takeaways to talk about in this video, and specifically a couple of guys who have started to really position themselves to break out for the Minnesota Vikings, not only for next season, but for the future seasons as well. Obviously, we're going to break down how Jaylen McCarthy looked, and he's a guy that they are extremely high on and honestly looked better than I thought he would during mandatory minicamp. We're going to get into that, but we're also going to talk about a couple of other guys who look insane. And again, take everything with a grain of salt because it's still very early. It is just mandatory minicamp. There's no pads, no contact or whatnot. But in terms of first impressions, some of these rookies looked unbelievable, and we're gonna break it all down in this video. Before we jump into the video, comment down below a player or two players that you think could potentially break out for the Minnesota Vikings this season, whether it's a rookie, a second-year player, a veteran, or maybe someone they just acquired this offseason. Let me know in the comments down below because I actually am very curious to see who you guys think is going to break out for them this year. Now, with that being said, let's kind of dive into the video and talk a little bit about Jaylen McCarthy. Now, he has looked insane. When you talk about pure arm talent alone, he probably has the most significant, the most impressive arm talent out of most of the quarterbacks in this year's NFL class. The raw ability that, Jaylen McCarthy possesses is something we haven't seen in a rookie in a long time. Now, I'm saying that to tell you guys that I don't think he's going to be a day one starter, but the first impression that he has given to not only the coaching staff, but the front office is, they are really, really confident, to say the very least. They know that they have a potential stud, the potential future of their team at the quarterback position in Jaylen McCarthy. The way he's been able to fit balls into tight windows, the way he's been able to put touch on the ball when he needs to, and, the decision making has been something I have been impressed with, right? The ability in 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s to know when or to when not to take the unnecessary risk, right? When to throw the ball up in one-on-one coverage, when to, take what the defense is giving you. That is something that rookie quarterbacks struggle with, right? There's guys who love to take the deep shot, love to take the chance, and sometimes force the interception. And there's also guys who love to just dump down the ball every single time, and then you get into a stagnant type of offense. But there was a perfect blend of, during 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s that he took the risks, right? But there's also a good amount of times where he took what the defense gave him that led to bigger opportunities, within the short routes, getting deep down the field later on, right? So I really was impressed with the accuracy. I love what he brought to the table. I really am impressed with his work ethic. He came out and said, listen, I'm spending most of June, all of July in Minnesota. I'm going to deep dive into the playbook. Right, I'm going to study the playbook every single night. So when training camp gets here, I am knowing everything. I know exactly what to do, right? We've seen quarterbacks in the past, i.e. Johnny Manziel. Manziel didn't study at all. He said, I kind of know what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go out there and wing it every single day. And we knew exactly how that was going to turn out, and it did, right? Jaylen McCarthy is not that. He is so much more mature. He is so ready to focus on football and become the best player that he can be. And right now, things look really good. He's got to continue to show that during, training camp and whatnot. I don't think he'll be a day one starter, but from what we've seen so far, I think it will be worth the wait, letting him simmer on the bench a little bit while we see some other guys really get going. Now, another guy who's really started to break out here for the Minnesota Vikings is no other than hold on. Before we get into that, do me a big favor, guys. Hit the like button so not only we can get this video out to more Vikings fans around the world, but also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the family. It is free. It doesn't cost anything. And we will be covering the Vikings throughout the entirety of the offseason. Everything you need to know, we got you guys covered. So join the family if you haven't already done so. Now, getting back into the video, another guy they're extremely high on is actually Jaylen Naylor. Now, he has been, struggling, went through an injury last season, missed mandatory minicamp because of the flu, but this is the guy they think the world of. They think he can step in and be a day one starter as their number 3 receiver. I know they brought in Brandon Powell and Trent Sherfield on one-year deals, But man, Jaylen Naylor is a guy who has all the potential in the world as a former late pick who can develop into a really good player. And JJ McCarthy is another guy who is really excited about him. They're talking about who is going to win that third receiver spot. And, you know, to a lot of the media members, Jaylen Naylor has always been that guy when he's healthy. When he's on the field, the dude has showcased the ability to make big plays happen. So he's looked good. He's the guy they're very, very high on. And then there's another couple of guys that they are pumped about defensively. There's Kyrie Jackson, a guy who they drafted in the 4th round, who has slowly started to break out throughout, mandatory minicamp, rookie camp, and OTAs as well. Another one of those guys who they think the world of, man. This is a guy who, might not come in here and be a day one starter ahead of a guy like Byron Murphy or Shaq Griffin or even a Josh Metellus, right? But when you talk about the depth behind those guys, he might be the next man up, right? He's been getting some big-time interceptions, been making some big-time plays, sticky coverage. The footwork is insane. The ability to read what a receiver wants to do, the ability to read the offense and, what they're coming out in. You can tell Kyrie Jackson isn't just a normal rookie. This is a guy who was drafted a lot later than he should have been, right? I thought there was even a possibility he went late 2nd, early 3rd, and for him to go in the 4th round to the Vikings, this is the perfect landing spot, right? They're gonna need guys to come in here and make a difference down the line. You have Andrew Booth, you have Lewis Seen, guys who have struggled to really develop, but now with this new staff here, with these guys really focusing on player development, I think Kyrie Jackson is someone who, again, can step up and be a difference maker right away. So they're definitely pumped about him. And then one more guy that they, love and have thought the world about is Aaron Jones, right? There is so much respect around the locker room with Aaron Jones coming over from the Green Bay Packers, a guy who adds a sense of unpredictability in terms of keeping a defense honest, right? Not only can he run the football really productively, really efficiently, but he can also catch the ball out of the backfield as well. I thought at times with this team, they were pretty predictable when Alexander Madison was in the game or when they threw in Ty Chandler. There became a point in time where they became predictable, right? And I think Aaron Jones adds the sense of the unknown, right? I don't know what they're going to do because they're running backs in the game, right? You look at what they did last year for them, for the Packers, right? When A.J. Dillon was in the game, they were mainly probably going to run the football, right? When Aaron Jones was in the game, they were probably going to pass the football. But I feel like now having him alone on this team, he has a sense of unpredictability. And I think overall that it will help this team, help their offense continue to get better and better as time goes on. And I think if J.J. McCarthy is your starter, he's a great safety net to dump the ball down and watch work, man. This is a guy who can really, really figure things out quickly in an offense and really make plays with his legs. So I'm excited about this offseason. I thought we saw some really good things from a lot of different players. Ivan Pace looks like he could be the new Mike linebacker. You still got Brian Asamoah. You bring in Blake Cashman from Houston. You bring in Jonathan Gennard from Houston. Two really good, players in terms of, just being starters, right? Gennard had a great year last year in terms of getting to the quarterback. You bring in Van Ginkel. He can get to the quarterback. Dallas Turner, another guy who has showcased what he can do. I'm pumped, man. I am pumped for the Minnesota Vikings. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to start the year on the bench, but at the same time, I think that is good for him. Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next Minnesota Vikings update, which should be soon, man. Training camp is right around the corner, so stay tuned.